Yo, growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later.
And now your host. He owns 2 skateboards. One looks like a hoverboard, and the other has a Pikachu on it.
Pat Flynn.
Have you ever been friends with somebody for a long time, or even have had a relationship with somebody for a very long time, and just a thought comes across your head and you start to realize something that you absolutely love about them, something that you didn't even realize that they were doing for you this entire time? Maybe they've been just incredibly loyal to you time and time again through the ups and downs. Maybe there's somebody who's always just kind of checked in with you, and those little moments you don't really realize how important they are until you think back about them. So I'm curious, have you ever thought about people in your life and some of the things that they've actually done for you? And for me, I was thinking about this in relation to the episode that was just published on the Smart Passive Income podcast this past week with Michael Hyatt. Michael Hyatt from michaelhyatt.com, author, leader of leaders, and to me, a mentor, really. He and I have done a lot of things together recently, but I remember the first time I met him, and I want to tell you that story because there's a lot of things that he gave me and he has given me and has continued to give me that really has me understand just how much value he's given. And I wanted to share this with you because this is something, the thing that Michael has done for me and for so many other people, that we could all give to others too. And it's not necessarily a superpower because it's actually a thing within all of us that we can do. We just don't often think about how valuable this is. We hear about that word all the time, right? Give value, provide value, value. But what does that actually mean? Well, hopefully this story gives you a sense of the word in the way that I'm thinking about it right now, and why I'm actually so grateful to have Michael in my life as a mentor, as a leader, as somebody who has provided an example for me in so many different ways. One of the first ways was, in fact, in 2013 when I met him in person in Franklin, Tennessee. He is from Tennessee, and he invited a number of people, myself included, to come and speak at his event, the very first time this event ever ran, and it ran for a few years, called Platform. He wrote a book called Platform. He had a membership website called Platform University a number of years later. But he had a conference, a platform conference, where he invited people who were specialists on certain platforms to come and talk about how to grow on those platforms, how to, monetize those platforms, and how to provide value on those platforms. And I remember coming in a couple days early. Actually, he was very adamant about coming in early to meet others who were there and to meet the speakers and to just get a sense of who else was going to be there. And, it was an extra day away from home, and I had just started really traveling for speaking. And so I typically was going the night before the event started. Even if I spoke at the end, I wanted to go and attend the whole event. But coming an extra day early wasn't really something, because traveling to the East Coast, it takes a whole day. So I had to come in like literally a day before the event, and to just kind of come in and not feel rushed that day. Just likes to schedule things like that sometimes. So in case something goes wrong, there's still time for me to get to these really important things. And like I said, they were really adamant about me coming in early. So I came in early. I put on my best outfit and I'm there, and I go into the restaurant actually where we're all meeting. It's a little private room in the back. It's actually not that little. It could host maybe 30, 40 people. And I start to see people show up, and the waiters come in with glasses of wine. I just hold a glass of wine. I'm sipping it. It's a nice red wine. And we're going to have this fancy dinner, I assume. And more people come in, and I start to see people who I don't know. I've never seen these people before. I recognize one person. His name is Cliff Ravenscraft, and I was so grateful he was there because I'm an introvert. I'm kind of sitting in the corner of the room. I'm not really into meeting new people at this time. Even still, I get a little bit of the shakes, if you will, before I have to meet new people. But now I have the 3-second rule. And this is something I've learned over time. This is a little sidebar for you. The 3-second rule. If you are in a place where you want to meet somebody and they are there and it's not disrespectful or an interruption, go up to them and just say hi within 3 seconds. Don't be rude, obviously, but don't allow yourself enough time to psych yourself out. And I've used the 3-second rule at conferences time and time again. And my introvert self needs that challenge to not talk myself out of those really important moments that could turn into something amazing. And many times they turn into nothing, but many times they turn into something incredible. And what was really nice was that night we all sat down. Michael Hyatt eventually came in. People were shaking hands. And Michael came up to me and he introduced himself. It was the first time we met. He had this awesome smile, very welcoming. And immediately he started to introduce me to some of the other people in the room. And I could just tell that I was going to be okay. And with Michael introducing me to somebody I didn't know before, but who I met that night, Stu McLaren. Stu McLaren, you might remember from certain podcast episodes that we've had and just membership community genius. That was the first time I met him, through Michael Hyatt. There was another person I met that day. Michael Hyatt also introduced me to Jeff Goins. And in fact, I think I remember I sat next to Jeff and we got to know each other that night. But because Michael introduced me to them, it allowed me, my introvert self, to feel a little bit more comfortable. And I never really thought about that moment until years later. And I started thinking about the moments that Michael and I have interacted all the way from the beginning. And I just remember how valuable that introduction was, because Stu and I have become amazing friends. We have supported each other's programs. I'm supporting his Village Impact, which is an organization that supports the education in Kenya and builds schools to people who don't have normal access to, really good facilities and teachers and education in that area of the world. So I support Village Impact. And Jeff has been helping me with my book recently, and he and I have traded notes, and that's all thanks to Michael. The next year, I go to a place in Tennessee to go to the next platform conference. And I'm getting introduced to more people. Michael was a connector. And it's interesting because every once in a while, I notice that I get an email from Michael saying, hey, I want to introduce you to this group of people here, or I want to introduce you to this person. And in fact, many of those people I've since become friends with. I'm now realizing this. Some of those people have come on the show before, again, through an introduction from Michael. And it almost makes me feel like, wow, Michael's looking out for me. If he knows somebody who could potentially serve me in some way or help me out, or is maybe somebody I might enjoy speaking to, he introduces us together. And that's so valuable. And the cool thing is, you don't need to have 1 million followers. You don't need to have a ton of money. You could be anybody and still provide value in that way by being a connector. And I think that's a massive lesson. It's actually something that I need to do more of because I'm always thinking about, how to help a person myself, but a person may need help in a way that I wouldn't be able to provide it myself, but I might know somebody who might be able to do that. And that in and of itself is value. I'm now remembering an episode where we interviewed Glenn Alsop, not episode 3. Episode 3, I think Glenn from viperchill.com, now over at gaps.com, an internet marketing genius, SEO genius. That guy's the man. He was a young kid, I think under 20 when we first met, and we've never met in person. He is international, not in the US, and he has this amazing accent. But Glenn Alsop came on the podcast a number of years ago. This was at the time actually when the Switch Pod was big. Caleb and I, my videographer and I, were inventing this thing. It hadn't come out yet, but I had spoken about it a bunch of times because I always say if you're building something like work in public, share that along the way because it's value. It's a journey. It's a story that you're creating with people. People are now invested in it. They're interested in it, and they might invest in the actual product. Anyway, I interviewed Glenn, and I was like, Glenn, how might you provide value to somebody if you're somebody who doesn't have seemingly a lot of value to give? And he gave me the best answer I've ever heard, which relates to everything we just talked about. He said, Pat, you're coming out with this Switch Pod soon, right? And I said, yeah. And so number one, he knew that I was coming out with a Switch Pod. That's sort of step one, knowing what is important in the other person's life. Number two, he said, well, what if I told you, and maybe you didn't know me, but I said I knew somebody who knew Casey Neistat, and I'd love to at least see if they might invite an invitation to chat with you. I would say, you know what, Glenn? I don't care who you are at that point. You are the most important person in the world to me right now because that is exactly what I would love to potentially happen. And even if it didn't actually happen, even if it fell through, that connection to Casey Neistat didn't actually happen, I would appreciate the effort so much that, number one, a person understands what is going on in my life right now and what I need help with. Number two, they are then providing value by connecting me with somebody that can potentially help. That is value. So when you make connections in this world, not only should you be trying to provide service to others personally, but providing a service to others means thinking about who else might be of service to them too. And I want to run a little exercise by you. This might be an interesting thing for us to do together today, in fact, after this episode. After this episode, I want you to think of somebody who perhaps is somebody that you'd like to reach out to, somebody that you perhaps have connected with recently that you'd like to develop a deeper relationship with. Study them a little bit to a point where you can understand what kind of person could enter their life that could help them the most. How might you be able to provide that connection? Because I'll tell you, when I've thought about Michael Hyatt and a lot of the things he's done, he's helped me by providing an example of what it's like to build a team. He's helped me by providing an example of what it's like to have business and family run smoothly together. By the way, you should all listen to the episode that we did with Michael this past week, episode 475. I think it's going to be life-changing for so many people because that's a struggle for sure, the balance. But more than that, Michael has given me constant attention to who else may be valuable for me in my life and what I'm up to in every regard. And I'm so grateful for that. So Michael, if you happen to be listening to this right now, thank you for the connections. Every single person on that stage has been somebody who I've now become friends with. This is back in 2013. And now we're here 8 years later, and I still have those connections that you started today. I'm thinking about when I had promoted Best Year Ever. This is one of Michael's previous courses that is now tied into his Full Focus Planner and all the things that he does there. Definitely check out his book, Best Year Ever, or his planner, his journal, productivity journal, Full Focus Planner. I use it. Love it. smartpassiveincome.com/full focus planner. We had promoted his course and had become one of the top affiliates. And one thing that Michael likes to do is to invite his top performing affiliates to a place called Blackberry Farms, which is again in Tennessee. It's like a resort farm sort of thing. And I'd never been in a place like that before. First of all, absolutely gorgeous. Nature, just farmland, the best food ever because they literally grow it there and then they cook it that night. But some of the best connections were made there too. That's when I got to know Ray Edwards, the grandfather of copywriting. That's when I got to know and really become a friend with Sally Hogshead. And those connections made there have lasted forever so far. forever so far. They've continued on. Me and Ray are now in a mastermind group together. And I think actually we were at the time, but that's when we really connected, when we were there in person. I remember sitting having breakfast one morning and Ray and I just chatting, looking over the pasture and just enjoying the fog and the sun coming out and just our time together. And who put us together in the same room? Michael Hyatt did. And to just express just the kinds of things that Michael does to connect people. And I don't know if this is just who he is or how he grew up or strategic. Either way, it's been a blessing. And I remember at Blackberry Farm, there was a number of affiliates there, a number of spouses of those affiliates or other team members. And we were sitting in like this cave thing. I mean, it was like honestly the coolest place to have a dinner. We were in a cave or something. Like I think it was like a cheese cave, right? Those things exist, right? Cheese caves where they make cheese because they want to remove the cheese from the actual changes in humidity and moisture from the air, so they have it all underground or something. I just remember a lot of good cheese, right? So that's another thing that we remember is we remember the food. But I remember this specifically, not just because of the setting, but because it was one long giant table. And what I'm about to share with you, I've implemented this myself strategically with the groups that I've been involved with. And it's been absolutely life-changing, memorable, and something I'm going to continue to do. So here's what happened. There was like 30 of us chilling in this cave, and we were sitting at this really beautiful dining table, one long table. And Michael gets up and he says, ding, ding, ding. Not a bell. We're not going to start boxing. This is a wine glass he's tapping, right? Ding, ding, ding. He says, hey, I'd love to do something that I do at our family dinners and at group outings like this. I want to have the one conversation table. And this is where we just have one conversation. And one person is talking at a time. Everybody else you can eat. And that way we are together here and we're not in these little clusters, which can sometimes leave people out or have like a really loud group in one corner and a more quiet group in the other. We're just all going to have one conversation. And I'm going to start it with a question. And I cannot remember the question, but I remember it going around the table and every single person just answering. I think it was, it could have been one of those questions like, what is a rose? No, what is it? It was like three things. It's like the flower, a petal, and a thorn, right? So like, what's the big thing that you're looking forward to? The flower. What's a petal? What's like a little thing that you're excited about coming up soon? And what's the thorn? What's like the one thing that's kind of like aching your back a little bit? What's one thing that you might need some help and support with? So it could have been that. There's a lot of different ways that you can run these conversations, but it was really cool because we got to hear from everybody. And as somebody else was speaking, you could tell that everybody was listening while everybody was eating, and one person was chatting and having a conversation with all of us about what they were doing and what they were interested in, what they might need help with. And Michael would come in between each and just thank that person for being open. Some people got emotional during that time. Some people got comedic and funny, and some people were just short, and that's fine too. But I've since brought that experience that has allowed me to connect with those people, because not only am I able to connect with like the two people sitting next to me if we're having conversations at dinner, I'm able to connect with all 29 other people at that table. And I can remember those stories that they tell. And I can remember specifically those people moving forward. And like I said, a lot of those conversations and connections has stayed all the way through. And I've since, when I've had people in San Diego, like my accelerator group, the SPI accelerator group, we have a dining table at this house that we rent out on the cliffs over in La Jolla. And it's a beautiful setting, and we do the one conversation. And we basically get through one or two questions. And I ask questions like, tell me what you were like when you were a kid. And then every person goes around, and we just have laughs. We have some fun. We talk about how quirky we were. It just gets everybody to open up and gets everybody to connect with each and every single person there. So all this to say, you can try that at dinner if you'd like. It's really, really cool. And so, Michael, thank you so much for the example. Thank you for being a connector. And to all of you listening, how might you provide value to others? By simply being a connector. Hopefully this inspires you. If you enjoyed it, let me know on Instagram @PatFlynn or on Twitter @PatFlynn. Thank you for listening to Follow Up Friday here. And I look forward to serving you in next week's episode. And I'm really enjoying this, going deep with you, and cannot wait to see what comes out of this. Thank you so much. Peace out. Team Flynn for the win. Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at smartpassiveincome.com. I'm your host, Pat Flynn. Sound design and editing by Paul Gregoris. Our senior producer is Sarah Jane Hess. Our series producer is David Grabowski. And our executive producer is Matt Gartland. The Smart Passive Income Podcast is a production of SPI Media. We'll catch you in the next session. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands. Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? You record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips? Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio quality audio and high resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART.